Hi, my name is Olivia and I work at CareerFoundry. In this video, we will speak to one of our CareerFoundry students, Adilya. She went from being unemployed to being awarded a Bildungsgutschein. With this Bildungsgutschein, she was able to start her career change journey with CareerFoundry. Let's hear Adilya's story now.
Hi, so my name is Adilya. I'm 35. I usually go by Adi, by the way. I recently started my data analytics course by CareerFoundry. That was a big change in my life. My whole life I've been a journalist, a content creator, a social media manager, and now I'm about to become a data analyst. So I worked as a journalist before, and everyone who knows me, my whole family, my close friends, they're actually really surprised when I tell them that I'm going into data analytics, because for them it feels like a huge leap, like where is journalism and where is data? But for me, it really doesn't feel like such a big change, because what brought me to journalism in the first place many years ago, it's just my curiosity, my general desire to answer questions and to get answers. And this whole time, all these years, I've been actually working with data already without knowing it, because I didn't know it was called data. Like, it's not the same data as we see in Excel tables, but it's still data. So I would look for information, I would find people who could share it with me, and I would try to create a message for the rest of the world, to inform people, to make them understand something they didn't know before. And this is basically very similar to what data analysts are doing. And many years ago, I actually found out that there was a thing called data journalism. So journalists who are professionally working with data. And I learned about it and I was so excited. There were so many interesting tools that people are using in their job. And I did a workshop 5 years ago on data journalism. I was so excited about it, and I wanted to do this career change back then, but unfortunately it wasn't possible. I had a full-time job and it wasn't really related to data. So I spent many years kind of hoping to do this shift, to branch out into data, but it never happened. And finally, last year, I started looking for an external opportunities to do that. And I came across CareerFoundry and data analytics course at CareerFoundry. And back in September last year, I was talking to your salespeople. I was actually considering doing it. But again, life happened. And back then, the situation wasn't really welcoming for such change in my life. So I still stayed with my full-time job until the time came, and as soon as I had an opportunity to start a course and I had the time, I decided to do that. Well, I learned everything I could about CareerFoundry course. I did the introductory course, which again showed me that it was exactly what I was interested in. So I did all the steps again. It reminded me how much I loved working with Excel and looking into data. And it motivated me more. So I started following CareerFoundry on LinkedIn, on social media, checking the events, checking what other people are saying, until I learned that there was a thing called Bildungsgutschein, so a voucher that I could get from the Center Voucher here in Germany that could cover my the tuition fee. And that was a final piece of the puzzle when I felt, okay, this is the right moment. Here I found it. Well, as I said, I learned about it from all the information I got from the CareerFoundry, because it was mentioned many times on social media, and I know some people who are connected with CareerFoundry, so they confirmed that this thing existed. Then I started looking into it also in other sources, and since my employment came to the end, my 7 years employment with my previous company, I knew that since when I'm unemployed or I am about to be unemployed, I can actually go to Center Voucher and explain to them that this course could help me get a better job, could help me be a better person and do maybe a better work for the society in the future. And I read everything I could about it. I found several examples of jobs that I could do if I had skills both in journalism, social media, and the data. And I collected everything in one portfolio before going to the Agentur für Arbeit. So when I got there, what really helped, I guess, is that I am fluent in German as well. So I think it really helped because my contact person at the Agentur für Arbeit, she didn't really understand much about data analytics. So when I explained to her what the course is about, what I wanted to learn, she wasn't so interested in that, but what she was really interested in my motivation. And she was really interested to see that my previous employment and what I want to do in the future are actually connected. So it's not that I just want to learn something completely different. And what I did, I found a job offer at the publishing house where I used to work before, where they're looking for a data analyst. So I brought it to her and I said, hey, look, I worked for them and they're looking for data analysts. So I could go back there and it's not something completely unrelated. So I guess it really helped. And I hope it also helped that I was so motivated, so excited. I had this plan that I already had, and I got it after the first appointment. And it was actually hard to believe when I got out of there. I was still looking at all this paperwork and wondering, did I actually get it or do I need to do anything else? But then I contacted CareerFoundry and they confirmed that that's it. So I can start preparing for the beginning of my course. Well, it really depends also on your professional history. So I've been with my previous company 7 years, which means that I was announced about my layoff 2 months before I was actually leaving the company. But because my job was terminated, I didn't have to work anymore. So I had 2 months, what's called Kündigungsfrist here in Germany, and I could take this time already to prepare for my professional future. So within this time, I immediately went to the Agentur für Arbeit. It does take time to get an appointment there, and I think it's the most frustrating part. I was really lucky. I'm not sure why. I guess it also depends on where you're located, even within Berlin, because some of my colleagues were waiting for an appointment for a very long time, maybe over a month, and I somehow managed to get it after I filled out all my data on the website. Suddenly I got a chance to book an appointment in just like a week time. And I'm not sure how it all works within Agentur für Arbeit, but I felt really lucky, and it again made me feel like everything is exactly how it should be. So when I went there, as I said, I immediately, like after maybe 30-minute talk with my contact person there, I immediately got the Gutschein, so I could immediately give it to CareerFoundry, and just 2 days later, I already had the access to the preparation course. I could pick the date when I wanted to start, and I started maybe about 3 weeks after I got the Gutschein. So for me, it all worked out pretty smoothly, but I think it was really because I was preparing for this moment for a very long time. Well, first, to know exactly what you want to do. Because it sounds amazing, like when you see all the stories on social media that people talk about their career shift and how they transition from some boring job to this amazing job where they earn so much more. But we need to be realistic. Like, it's a real world. Like, you still need to find a job, and it's not like it's magically happening. So what's really important is to think about your strengths, your skills, your experience, and what you really can and want to do, because I'm sure not everyone is good at data or like wants to be a data analyst, even though it sounds very interesting. But if it's not yours, it's not yours, right? So before thinking about career shifts, like really think about what you want to do. That would be my advice, I think. Oh, I couldn't believe it. Because first of all, it was my first appointment. I went there fully expecting to be kind of put on hold. Maybe I would submit my documents and they would tell me to wait, or maybe they will look into it. I was already preparing for the next appointment, maybe like what else I can do. And then we just had a very nice conversation, and my person of contact, she, I guess, saw how excited I was, and after I explained everything, she didn't really look into the curriculum or anything. She wasn't really interested in any of that. But she asked me, do you honestly think this is something for you? And I said, yes. I said, yes, I'm so ready for that. And then she just said something I didn't believe. She was like, okay, I'm just giving it to you right now. And then she tipped in my data and gave me a piece of paper that said that I'm receiving the funding. And I was free to go. Like when I went out, I was still looking at it and I couldn't believe it. And like, what was it? Like, seriously? So I can't promise anyone that it can be so smoothly every time, but I think if you have the motivation, it just shows, right? Like people can see it. And Agenturförarbeit is there to help people who have a plan, people who have desire to work. So I guess it all came together at the right moment. Well, of course, and I still do have. Now that I'm started the course, I'm very excited about it. I'm learning every day. I'm excited about what's to come, but still, it's a big change in my life. And it does feel like kind of in a way going to square one, starting new. And it is scary, because it feels like, oh, am I too old to do that? Is it too late? Is it going to feel weird? Are people going to look weird at me because there are people who've been in this industry for years and I'm coming in with this course? Like, is it going to be enough for a job or not? Am I going to be disappointed? So I do have a lot of concerns still, but how it is going so far, it does give me hope and the motivation, because it feels like it's the right thing to do. I am afraid it's going to sound very ambitious, but when I was preparing myself for the appointment at Agenturförarbeit, what I basically wanted to show them is that the industry where I have my main experience in, which is media and journalism, this industry is very data-driven right now. So it does require people who are good with data. So I'm not really jumping into a new career. I'm more like gaining the knowledge to be better at what I'm doing. And I was looking at Axel Springer, for example, which is the biggest publishing house in Germany, and how much they work with data. So there are a lot of data analysts that work there, and I do hope that I would maybe be able to join them at some point. Now I feel like during the course I can also get some new visions for my future career. Actually, just the very first task I was doing 2 weeks ago, the task was to look at some interviews, read some interviews with data analysts from different industries and kind of see what fits well with my own plan. And there was this incredible interview with a woman who is a data analyst in a human rights organization. So they're using data analysis to support human rights activists all over the world, to help them build their cases, to help them strengthen their petitions, to approach the government in the right way. And I thought, wow, like I never thought it was possible, but actually it does make a lot of sense. So I already looked at this organization, if they're like looking for some trainees or interns. Unfortunately, not at the moment, but it does give me a lot of motivation. And I realized that there's so much more I don't know about this job. And even something as boring as just business analytics, it's actually not boring at all. I never thought about it, but now that I'm working with it, it's actually excites me so much. So I know what I would love to do, or I'd love to try to do first of all, but I am very open-minded about my future right now. So you need to have a vision, but there's a whole new world opening up in front of you. So you need to be welcoming it as well. I think the amount of information I could get from the organization, so the website, the blog, the social media, with CareerFoundry, I really felt like there was something new every day, something new to learn, like the educational voucher, which I didn't know about before that. And once I learned about it, the algorithm of social media started offering me other schools as well. But I never found any other school that would be so welcoming already, even though I wasn't a student yet, I wasn't even applying, but I got so much information just from the social media and the website. So I felt like, well, I know so much already, so this is my place. And the introductory course was actually really helpful to understand if it's was something really for me. And I found it really great that it's just available on the website with no strings attached. You just do it. I was really impressed that there's so many levels of support. So when I was preparing myself for the course, I was offered to do this very thorough introductory preparation course that was actually felt like too much at the beginning because it was just so long, but it was so detailed. So I felt that before starting the course, I already knew so much about it. So I felt completely integrated into the system already. And so far, I've never contacted my student support group because I never felt the need for that. My tutor is very supportive. I think he's really great. I feel like maybe I'm good or maybe he's just nice. I asked him not to be too nice and be strict with his feedback, and he promised to, but he still approves every task I do straight away. But I hope it's just because the tasks at the beginning are fairly easy, so maybe I'm just good enough. And my mentor, I already had one call with her. She was very supportive and very inspiring. And in general, yeah, I found it's amazing how many people were engaging with me all the time. Like since I applied for the course, I got so many things to look at. I felt like for me it wasn't hard to keep everything in mind and to navigate it, but maybe some people would think it's a lot. Like I asked myself if it wasn't too much at some time, but actually now that I'm in the course and I have the whole access to the system and I can navigate it myself, I feel very comfortable. Well, I guess main advice is always to do it, because it feels scary, but I think in our modern world, it's very natural to learn more and to shift careers. I'm sure everyone already has something in mind that they wanted to do, and if they feel inspired, if they have a plan, they just should do it.